The fluorescent lights buzzed above the operating room, casting a stark glow on the sterile environment. Dr. Daniel Harper stood at the helm of the surgical team, his brow furrowed in concentration. Today was different. Today, he was not just performing another life-saving surgery. He was fighting for the life of Olivia Sinclair, a woman whose name was synonymous with philanthropy and altruism in the city. As the lead surgeon, every cut and suture felt like a weighty decision, one that could tilt the scales between life and death. "Scalpel," Daniel called, his voice steady yet urgent. One of the surgical assistants quickly handed him the gleaming instrument, her hands trembling slightly. The tension in the room was palpable, an invisible thread binding him and his team as they worked against the clock. Olivia lay unconscious on the operating table, her usually vibrant presence now reduced to a fragile figure. A lifetime of charity work and public appearances had led her to this moment. An emergency surgery to correct a life-threatening condition that had caught everyone off guard. As he maneuvered through the intricate layers of tissue, Daniel's mind raced. He had read about Olivia's contributions, her tireless efforts to uplift the underprivileged, and her initiatives that had changed countless lives. Now, he was acutely aware of the stakes. "We can't lose her," he murmured to himself, the words barely rising above the beeping monitors that tracked Olivia's vitals. "Blood pressure dropping," shouted Dr. Ramirez, the anesthesiologist, her voice slicing through the tension. Daniel's heart raced. He quickly adjusted his approach, focusing on the critical area that needed repair. "Let's administer more fluids," he ordered, his voice firm. The team sprang into action, each member knowing their role in this high-stakes ballet of medicine. As he worked, Daniel's thoughts flickered to the stories he had heard about Olivia, her relentless passion for helping others, her grace under pressure. He couldn't allow her life to end here, not when she had so much left to give. Minutes felt like hours, and just as Daniel began to feel the weight of despair creeping in, he completed the final suture. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but relief washed over him as he stepped back, allowing the team to begin the process of closing the incision. "She's stable," he announced, his voice imbued with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. As the team began to clean up, Daniel took a moment to gather himself, leaning against the cool metal of the counter. The adrenaline slowly ebbed away, replaced by a sense of accomplishment. He had saved her life. It was a feeling he cherished, but rarely allowed himself to linger on. "Dr. Harper, you did it," Dr. Ramirez said, her voice laced with admiration. "She's going to be okay." "I hope so," Daniel replied, his thoughts still lingering on the woman he had just fought for. As the nurses wheeled Olivia out of the operating room, he caught a glimpse of her pale face, a stark contrast to the vibrancy he had seen in photographs. He felt an unexpected pang of empathy. Despite their different worlds, they were both fighting their own battles. Hours later, after the surgery was deemed a success, Olivia began to regain consciousness. The sterile smell of antiseptic was the first thing she registered, followed by the soft sounds of beeping machines. As her eyes fluttered open, she found herself in a hospital room, the bright lights casting a soft halo around the figure standing beside her bed. It was Daniel, his expression a mix of professionalism and warmth. "Welcome back," he said gently, his voice soothing. "You're in recovery." The surgery went well. Olivia blinked, attempting to adjust to her surroundings. "Dr. Harper," she rasped, her voice barely above a whisper. Thank you for saving me." Daniel shifted slightly, a hint of discomfort flashing across his face. "It's my job, Miss Sinclair. I'm just glad you're okay." He brushed off her gratitude, aware that such acknowledgments could lead to an emotional entanglement he was not prepared for. She offered a weak smile, but there was a depth in her gaze that made Daniel pause. No, really. I mean it. You saved my life. I owe you everything. No one owes anyone anything in this field, he replied, shifting his focus to the monitors. You're a fighter, Olivia. You came through this because of your strength. In that moment, a connection flickered between them, something unspoken but palpable. Olivia observed the way his brow furrowed with concern, the lines of his face etched deeper than they should have been for a man of his age. You're dedicated, she observed, her voice soft yet steady. I can see that. Daniel shrugged, unwilling to delve deeper into his own life. It's what I do. I'm just glad you're awake. The silence that followed was filled with an understanding that neither fully comprehended. For Olivia, it was an unexpected warmth amid her vulnerability. For Daniel, it was a moment of connection that he had not anticipated or sought, but felt drawn to nonetheless. A few days later, Olivia was discharged, her body still weak, but her spirit ignited by the second chance she had been given. She knew she needed to express her gratitude properly. Her mind raced as she considered how best to thank the man who had saved her. Standing in her opulent living room, she picked up her phone, hesitating only for a moment before dialing his number. The phone rang, and she felt her heart quicken with anticipation. It was a simple invitation, but she wanted it to be meaningful. Dr. Harper, she said, her voice clear when he answered. This is Olivia Sinclair. I wanted to thank you for everything you did for me. Miss Sinclair, he replied, his tone professional yet warm. I'm just glad you're recovering. I'd like to invite you to a charity gala I'm hosting next week, she continued, her voice steady. It would mean a lot to me if you could come. It's my way of thanking you properly. Daniel hesitated. The idea of attending a gala filled with the city's elite felt foreign to him, a world so far removed from the sterile confines of the hospital. I don't know, Olivia. I'm not sure I belong in that environment. Please, it would really mean a lot to me, she insisted, her voice softening. I'd love for you to see the impact of your work. You've not only saved a life, you've made it possible for me to keep helping others. After a moment of silence, Daniel sighed, feeling the weight of her plea. All right, I'll come. His voice was firm, but inside, he felt a swirl of emotions. Great. I'll send you the details, Olivia replied, her voice brightening. Thank you, Dr. Harper. I look forward to seeing you there. As they hung up, Daniel stood alone in his office, contemplating the invitation. He had entered medicine to make a difference, but the prospect of mingling with the city's elite unnerved him. Yet, something about Olivia's voice lingered in his mind, a reminder of the fragile connection formed in the operating room. Perhaps attending the gala would offer him a glimpse into the world he had only ever witnessed from afar. And so, as the days passed, he found himself torn between excitement and trepidation, ready to step into a world that promised not only a chance to connect further with Olivia, but also to confront the complexities of their differing lives. The grand ballroom of the Sinclair Foundation was a spectacle of elegance, adorned with crystal chandeliers that sparkled like stars above the crowd. The sound of laughter and clinking glasses filled the air, as a sea of glamorous gowns and tailored suits moved gracefully across the polished marble floor. Dr. Daniel Harper stood slightly apart from the throng, feeling acutely aware of his own inconspicuous attire. The crisp white shirt and dark trousers he'd chosen felt inadequate amidst the sea of designer labels, and he shifted uncomfortably, adjusting his glasses as he scanned the room. Dr. Harper, a familiar voice broke through the din, pulling his attention. Olivia Sinclair approached him, radiating confidence in a stunning emerald gown that hugged her figure perfectly. The fabric shimmered under the lights, accentuating her striking features. Her hair cascaded in soft waves, framing her face, and for a moment, Daniel felt the breath catch in his throat. She was not just the woman he had saved in the operating room. She was a force of nature in this setting. Olivia, he replied, his voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in his stomach. You look incredible. Thank you. She smiled, her eyes sparkling with warmth. I want to thank you properly tonight. You've done so much for me. Daniel waved a hand dismissively, still grappling with the reality of his role in her life. It was my job. I'm just glad you're okay. Just a job, she teased lightly, but Daniel could sense the hint of seriousness beneath her playful tone. You saved my life, Daniel. You deserve more than just my gratitude. He shifted his weight, feeling the unfamiliar heat of her gaze. I appreciate it truly, but I'm not sure I belong in a place like this. Why not? Olivia asked, tilting her head slightly, her expression curious. You're here now. You belong. Before he could respond, she gestured toward a quieter corner of the ballroom, away from the bustling crowd. Let's get some air, she suggested, leading the way. Daniel followed, his heart racing as he navigated through the sea of socialites and dignitaries. Once outside on the balcony, the cool night air enveloped them. The city sprawled beneath them, lights twinkling like stars fallen to earth. Daniel leaned against the railing, taking in the view while trying to calm the tumult of emotions swirling within him. This is my favorite place at these events, Olivia said, leaning beside him. It's where I can breathe and think away from all the noise. He nodded, glancing sideways at her. It's beautiful up here. You know, after everything that happened, I want to change my life, Olivia confessed, her gaze fixed on the horizon. I thought philanthropy would be my way to make an impact, to honor my past. Daniel turned to her, intrigued. What do you mean? She hesitated, biting her lip as if weighing her words carefully. I lost someone very important to me a few years ago. A friend, someone who believed in me and encouraged my dreams. After their passing, I felt lost for a long time. I thought becoming a philanthropist would help fill that void. What happened? Daniel asked gently, feeling an urge to understand her better. He sensed the weight of her unspoken struggles. Olivia took a deep breath, her eyes glistening with unbidden memories. They were diagnosed with a terminal illness. I watched them suffer, and it shattered me. I promised myself that I would dedicate my life to helping others, to prevent anyone else from going through what they did. Daniel's heart ached for her. I'm so sorry, he murmured, suddenly aware of the vulnerability that lay beneath her composed exterior. That must have been incredibly hard. It was, she admitted, her voice steadier now. But it also ignited a fire within me. I wanted to make a difference, to create a legacy that would last beyond my own life. He nodded, admiration swelling within him. You've certainly made a difference. Your foundation does incredible work. Thank you, she replied, a hint of a smile breaking through her solemnity. But it's not just about the work. It's about connecting with people, understanding their struggles. Sometimes I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. Daniel clenched his fists against the railing, feeling the heat of her passion resonate with his own. You're doing more than that. You're giving people hope. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world around them faded into obscurity. There was an unspoken bond forming, a connection that transcended their initial roles as surgeon and patient. Yet, the moment was fractured by the sound of approaching footsteps. Olivia! A booming voice called out from behind them, breaking the spell. Daniel's heart sank as he recognized the figure striding toward them. It was William, Olivia's estranged ex-husband, his presence commanding and unwelcome. William, Olivia said, her tone shifting to one of forced cheerfulness as she straightened, but Daniel could see the tension flare in her shoulders. Enjoying the night air? He asked, a smirk playing on his lips as he surveyed Daniel with a look of barely concealed disdain. Just having conversation, Olivia replied, her voice clipped. Ah, I see. I hope you're not boring Dr. Harper with tales of your unfortunate past. William quipped, his tone dripping with sarcasm. He might not handle it as well as you. Daniel stepped forward, instinctively protective. We were just talking about her work and the impact it has on people, he said, his voice steady but firm. Of course, you would find that interesting. After all, you are a doctor, William retorted, dismissing Daniel with a wave of his hand. But let's not forget who truly knows how to navigate this world, shall we? Olivia's expression hardened, and Daniel felt a rush of anger on her behalf. William, this is not the time or place, she said, her voice rising slightly. I'm here to enjoy the evening, not to engage in your games. Games? William's laughter was cold, echoing off the walls of the balcony. I'm simply looking out for you, Olivia. You can't forget who you're dealing with. Daniel felt the air thicken with tension, the playful moment he'd shared with Olivia dissipating. He looked at her, and for the first time, he saw the flicker of distress in her eyes as she faced her past. William's presence loomed over them, casting a shadow that threatened to engulf the connection they had just begun to forge. Let's go back inside, Olivia said, her voice barely above a whisper, but Daniel could hear the resolve beneath. Are you sure? He asked, concern etched on his features. I'm sure, she replied, her chin lifting defiantly as she turned her back on William. Daniel followed her lead, but as they walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that their moment had been irrevocably altered. Inside the ballroom, the vibrant energy of the gala enveloped them once more, but Daniel felt the weight of Olivia's silence beside him. They returned to the crowd, but the intimacy they had shared on the balcony felt like a distant memory. As he watched her navigate the evening, Daniel couldn't help but ponder the complexities of her life, the shadows of her past, the lingering presence of William, and the undeniable chemistry that sparked between them. Are you all right? He finally asked, breaking the silence after a few moments of uneasy mingling. Olivia glanced at him, her expression a mixture of determination and vulnerability. I will be. I just need to remind myself that I'm stronger than my past. Daniel nodded, his admiration for her deepening. You are strong, Olivia. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. Thank you, Daniel, she said softly, her eyes searching his. It means a lot to have your support. And in that moment, amidst the clamor of the gala, Daniel realized he was not just a surgeon in her life. He was becoming something much more significant, an ally, a confidant, perhaps even a friend. But as William's shadow loomed in the background of their evening, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was just beginning, fraught with challenges that would test the fragile bond they had begun to build. The neon lights of the city flickered outside Olivia's penthouse as she stood by the window, gazing into the distance. The echoes of laughter and music from the gala lingered in her mind, a stark contrast to the silence that enveloped her now. She felt a swirl of emotions, gratitude for her survival, confusion about her feelings for Daniel, and a heavy weight of regret for the choices that had brought her to this point. Her reflection stared back at her, a woman who had always been strong, but now felt like a puzzle with pieces missing. With a sigh, she turned away from the window, the warmth of the room a stark reminder of the cold reality of her life. Olivia sank into a plush armchair, her thoughts drifting back to the moments spent with Daniel. His blue eyes had a way of piercing through her defenses, igniting something within her that she had thought long buried. Meanwhile, across town, Daniel sat in his modest apartment, the remnants of the gala still vivid in his mind. He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled, trying to sort through the emotional turmoil that had taken hold of him. He had always been focused on his career, driven by a desire to save lives. But now, for the first time, he found himself questioning the path he had chosen. The connection he felt with Olivia was unlike anything he had experienced before, and it frightened him. Why does this feel so complicated? He muttered to himself, recalling the tension he sensed when William had appeared at the gala. There was a history there, one that Daniel could only glimpse but not fully understand. He knew Olivia was a woman of depth, her philanthropy rooted in a painful past, yet he felt a wall between them, constructed by secrets and unspoken truths. He rose from his chair, moving to the window to look out at the cityscape. The night was alive with activity, but in that moment, he felt isolated. The memories of his own childhood flashed before him, his father's disapproval, his mother's silent suffering. He had fought hard to escape that world, to become someone who could make a difference. Yet, here he was, entangled in the emotional web of a woman who had faced her own demons. The next morning, the city buzzed with the usual frenetic energy as Olivia decided to visit the local cafe, her favorite spot where she often sought solace amidst the chaos of her life. As she stepped inside, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her, a comforting embrace. She spotted a corner table by the window and made her way over, her mind still wrestling with her feelings for Daniel. Just as she settled into the chair, the bell above the door jingled, and to her surprise, Daniel walked in. He looked equally startled to see her, a moment of recognition passing between them, filled with unspoken questions and lingering emotions. "Olivia," he said, a smile breaking through his initial surprise. "What a coincidence." "Daniel," she replied, returning the smile with a warmth that surprised her. "I didn't expect to see you here." He approached her table, glancing around to find a seat. "Mind if I join you?" "Not at all." She gestured to the empty chair across from her. "I could use the company." As he settled in, Daniel couldn't help but notice how the sunlight illuminated Olivia's features, casting a soft glow around her. "How are you feeling after the gala?" he asked, a hint of concern in his voice. "Better, I think," she replied, her gaze steady on him. "It's been a whirlwind, but I'm grateful for your help that night." "Just doing my job," he shrugged, but the sincerity in his eyes betrayed his modesty. "You're a remarkable woman, Olivia. You've been through a lot." She looked down at her coffee, the steam curling into the air like the fleeting moments of her past. "I suppose we all have our battles. It's just, sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough, if I'm truly making a difference." Daniel leaned forward, his expression serious. "You are. You've saved countless lives with your foundation. But it's okay to feel overwhelmed. I think it's part of being human." A silence enveloped them, thick with the weight of their respective histories. Olivia found herself reflecting on the countless hours spent building her foundation, the late nights spent writing grants, the meetings with donors who sometimes only cared about their reputations. But it wasn't just work. It was a way to heal from her past. "Do you believe in fate?" she asked suddenly, surprising herself at the question. "Fate?" He furrowed his brow, considering. "I think we create our own fate. The choices we make shape our destinies." "Choices," she echoed, her heart heavy with the implications of the word. "I've made so many, and sometimes I wonder if they were the right ones." "What do you mean?" Daniel leaned back, intrigued. "My marriage to William, for one," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I thought I was doing the right thing, marrying a man who seemed to support my vision. But now," she trailed off, a flicker of pain crossing her face. "Now you see the truth," Daniel finished for her, his tone gentle. "That sometimes people can be more toxic than we realize." Olivia met his gaze, appreciating the understanding in his eyes. "It's just hard to reconcile it all. I wanted to believe he was on my side, that he cared about my foundation and the people it serves." Daniel nodded, his expression softening. "He's not just your ex-husband. He's a powerful figure, and power can corrupt. It's not easy to navigate that world, especially when emotions are involved." "Exactly," she sighed, feeling the weight of his words. "But what do I do now? How do I separate my vision from his influence?" "Maybe it starts with taking control, he suggested, his voice steady. You have the power to reshape your foundation, to redefine its purpose. It's your dream. Olivia felt a surge of determination at his encouragement. You're right. I need to take charge. I've allowed him to manipulate me for too long. Then let's figure this out together, Daniel said, leaning forward, his eyes bright with resolve. You don't have to do it alone. As they spoke, a flood of memories washed over them, intertwining their lives in a way neither had anticipated. They began to share snippets of their childhood, favorite games, school days, and small-town adventures, only to realize that they had crossed paths before, albeit briefly. Wait a minute, Daniel said, a spark of recognition lighting up his face. You went to Westview Elementary, didn't you? I did. Olivia laughed, the sound light and joyful. I remember that old playground. I used to swing so high, pretending I could touch the clouds. I was the kid who always tried to climb the tallest tree. He chuckled, the memory brightening his features. I fell a few times, but I always got back up. Their laughter echoed in the cafe, a momentary reprieve from the weight of their realities. It felt like a bridge connecting their past to the present, an unexpected thread weaving their lives together again. The bond they were forming was undeniable, and as they shared their nostalgic stories, both found solace in the simple connection of shared memories. But lurking under the surface were the complexities of their current lives, and Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows of her past were still looming. I'm glad we crossed paths again, Daniel, she confessed, her tone more serious now. It feels like fate. Maybe it is, he replied softly, his gaze intense. But whatever it is, I want to be here for you. You deserve to reclaim your narrative. The air between them shifted, charged with unspoken emotions. As they spoke, Olivia felt a flicker of hope for the future. Perhaps, together, they could navigate the tumultuous waters of their intertwined pasts and build a new foundation, not just for a charity, but for their lives as well. In that moment, Olivia realized that her journey towards healing and self-discovery was just beginning, and with Daniel by her side, she felt more empowered than ever to confront the challenges ahead. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the bustling streets of the city. Inside the upscale office of Olivia Sinclair, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Daniel Harper paced the plush carpet, his brow furrowed in concern. He had just confronted Olivia about William, her estranged ex-husband, and the weight of their conversation hung in the air like a storm cloud. Olivia, he began, his voice steady but urgent, you need to take charge of your foundation. It's your vision, your work. You can't let him manipulate you any longer. Olivia, seated behind her large mahogany desk, hesitated. She looked out the window, her gaze lost in the cityscape. It's not that simple, Daniel. William has been a part of my life for so long. He was there when I built this foundation. I owe him a lot. Do you really owe him? Daniel pressed, stepping closer. He could see the conflict in her beautiful blue eyes, the fight between loyalty to her past and the burgeoning independence she was beginning to feel. What has he done for you lately? From what I see, he's only been a thorn in your side. With a deep breath, Olivia turned to face him, her expression a mix of frustration and vulnerability. You don't understand. There are reasons I stayed with him. We built this together. Her voice softened, revealing a hint of the pain she carried. When I lost my family, he was there. He helped me cope. But now I don't know what to think. Daniel's heart ached for her. He stepped forward, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. You're stronger than you think, Olivia. You've created something beautiful, something that can help so many people. Don't let him take that away from you. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes, and she blinked them back defiantly. I appreciate your concern, Daniel. I really do. But I need to figure this out on my own. The finality in her tone made Daniel's stomach twist. He wanted to help her, but he also understood the importance of autonomy, especially in the face of her tumultuous past. I'll support you, no matter what you decide, he replied, his voice laced with sincerity. But I can't just stand by and watch you be pushed around. You deserve to reclaim your life. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden buzzing from Olivia's phone. She glanced at the screen, and her expression shifted from determination to dread. It's from the board, she said, her fingers trembling as she swiped to answer. Hello. Daniel watched as her face paled, the color draining from her cheeks. What do you mean? Threats. The panic in her voice was palpable. What kind of threats? She looked up at Daniel, her eyes wide with fear. He moved closer, instinctively wanting to protect her. Olivia, what's going on? Someone is threatening the foundation, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. They say if I don't comply with certain demands, they'll expose information that could ruin everything. Expose what? Daniel demanded, his protective instincts flaring. You can't let them intimidate you. We need to take this seriously. Olivia dropped the phone onto the desk, her hands shaking. I don't know, Daniel. I need to figure out who's behind this. It could be anyone. She looked down, her voice cracking. It could even be William. Then we need to act fast. We can't let him, or anyone else, tear down what you built. You need to be safe, he urged, the gravity of the situation weighing heavily between them. I can't run away from this, Daniel. I need to face it, she replied, her resolve returning. I'm not going to be bullied into submission. A flicker of admiration sparked within Daniel. That's the spirit. You're stronger than you realize, he said softly, stepping back to give her space. They both knew she had a battle ahead, and he was determined to stand by her side. Just then, a knock on the door interrupted their intense moment. Before Olivia could respond, the door swung open, revealing William Sinclair, his presence filling the room with an unsettling tension. Olivia, he said, his voice smooth but laced with an undercurrent of menace. I hope I'm not interrupting. Daniel's instincts flared. He positioned himself protectively beside Olivia, a silent declaration that he wouldn't let William intimidate her again. What do you want, William? He asked, his tone firm. William's eyes flicked from Daniel to Olivia. I came to discuss the foundation. There are things we need to settle. Olivia straightened, her chin lifted in defiance. There's nothing to discuss, William. You're not welcome here. Now, William replied, a sly smile creeping across his face. Surely you wouldn't want to make a scene, especially with all those threats swirling around. I'm here to help you, Olivia. You should be grateful. Help, Daniel scoffed, stepping further into the room. You've done nothing but undermine her. You're the last person she needs help from. Daniel, please, Olivia interjected, her voice strained. She could feel the tension crackling in the air, the battle lines drawn between Daniel's fierce protection and William's manipulative charm. Let's not make this personal, William said, his tone patronizing. I'm merely looking out for Olivia's best interests. We both know how fragile her position is right now. Olivia's heart raced at the implications in his words. You're not here for me. You're here for control. You've always been about control. Her voice trembled, but there was a newfound strength in her words. Control is necessary in our world, Olivia, William replied smoothly, as if he were discussing a business deal. You need me to navigate these waters. You can't do this alone. I don't need you. Olivia shot back, her voice rising. I've done just fine without you for years, and I'm not about to let you back in now. Daniel felt a rush of pride at Olivia's bravery, and he took a step closer, ready to provide whatever support she needed. You're not alone, Olivia. You have me. William's expression darkened, and he glanced at Daniel with an icy gaze. You think you can protect her? You think you know her? You don't understand the stakes at play. Then enlighten me, Daniel challenged, crossing his arms. What do you think you can do to her that we can't handle together? William chuckled, but there was no humor in it. You're just a surgeon, Daniel. You can repair broken bones, but can you mend a broken reputation? Can you handle the fallout that comes with crossing me? His voice dripped with condescension, and Daniel felt a surge of anger. Olivia stepped forward, her voice steady. You may think you hold all the cards, but I'm not afraid of you anymore. I won't be bullied or manipulated into submission. Daniel's heart swelled with admiration for her resilience. She was standing her ground, and it was a beautiful sight to behold. William's facade slipped for just a moment, revealing a flicker of anger beneath. You'll regret this, Olivia. You have no idea what you're up against. With that, he turned on his heel and strode out of the office, leaving a palpable tension in his wake. The moment the door clicked shut, Olivia let out a shaky breath, her body trembling from the confrontation. Are you okay? Daniel asked. Concern etched on his face as he moved closer to her. I am now, she replied, her voice steadier. I've never stood up to him like that before. It felt liberating. It was, Daniel affirmed, his admiration for her growing by the second. You're not the same person you were before. You're stronger, and you have the support you need to face him. Olivia met his gaze, her heart racing not just from the confrontation, but from the connection they shared. I don't know what I would do without you, Daniel. You've been my rock through this. He smiled softly, a warmth spreading through him at her words. You're not alone in this fight. I'm here for you always. As they stood together, the weight of the world began to lift. Olivia felt a sense of determination rising within her, fueled by the strength of their bond. Together, they would face whatever William had in store, and for the first time in a long time, Olivia felt a glimmer of hope. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue across the city as Daniel and Olivia sat in her spacious office at the Sinclair Foundation. Papers were strewn across the large mahogany desk, a chaotic reflection of the turmoil they were navigating. Just days had passed since they uncovered the embezzlement scheme orchestrated by William, yet it felt like a lifetime's worth of tension had settled between them. Daniel, Olivia began, her voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. I can't help but feel overwhelmed. This is my foundation, my life's work. How could I have let it get so far? Daniel leaned back in his chair, his brow furrowed in thought. You didn't know, Olivia. William was always good at hiding his tracks. You were focused on helping others, not on the shadows lurking behind your own back. She sighed, running a hand through her hair, which had been hastily tied up in a bun. But I should have seen it. I should have been more vigilant. If I had just trusted my instincts, I could have stopped him before it got this bad. Stop that, Daniel interjected, leaning forward, concern etched on his face. You're not responsible for his actions. You're doing everything you can now to fix this. The press conference is coming up, and it's important that you take a stand. Olivia's eyes met his, a flicker of doubt dancing across her features. What if he tries to sabotage me again? He's done it before. He won't hesitate to humiliate me in front of everyone. Then we'll be ready for it. Daniel reassured her, his voice firm. I'll be right by your side. You're not in this alone. The sincerity in his words wrapped around her like a warm blanket. For the first time in a long while, Olivia felt a surge of strength coursing through her veins. She nodded, though anxiety still gnawed at her. You're right. I need to confront him, to confront my past. But it's terrifying. Fear is part of the process, Daniel replied. But it can also be a catalyst for change. You can turn this fear into something powerful. You're more than just a philanthropist. You're a leader. And leaders face their challenges head on. As they spoke, the sun dipped lower, casting shadows across the room. Olivia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Daniel's unwavering support. I've spent so many years trying to please others, trying to fix everything for everyone else. I think it's time I start doing this for me. Exactly, Daniel said, a hint of pride in his voice. You deserve to reclaim your narrative. Let them see who you truly are. Later that evening, they met at a small cafe near the Foundation's headquarters. The atmosphere was cozy, with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air, mingling with the sound of soft chatter. Olivia stirred her cup absent-mindedly, her mind racing with thoughts of the upcoming press conference. "Do you think it's too soon?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if the press twists my words? What if they paint me as the villain?" Daniel leaned forward, his eyes locked onto hers. "They can try, but you have the truth on your side. You have to believe that. Speak from your heart, Olivia. You're not just fighting for your foundation. You're fighting for yourself." As she absorbed his words, a sense of determination washed over her. "You're right. This is my chance to reclaim not just my foundation, but my life. I won't let William dictate my story any longer." "Exactly," Daniel repeated, a smile breaking across his face. "And remember, I'll be there. We'll present a united front. Together, we're stronger." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter and shared stories. As the sun set, casting a warm glow through the cafe windows, Olivia felt a growing sense of hope. The connection she shared with Daniel was becoming a source of strength, a guiding light in the tumultuous storm of her life. The day of the press conference arrived, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Journalists and cameras filled the room, their presence a stark reminder of the stakes at hand. Olivia stood at the podium, her heart pounding as she glanced at Daniel, who stood off to the side, a reassuring presence amidst the chaos. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Thank you for being here today. I have an important announcement regarding the Sinclair Foundation." As she spoke, she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. "It has come to my attention that there has been a severe breach of trust within our organization, one that I deeply regret. I want to address the allegations of embezzlement that have come to light and assure you all that we are taking swift action to rectify this situation." A murmur swept through the crowd, and Olivia took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "I have discovered that my ex-husband, William Sinclair, has been using his position within the foundation to siphon funds for his own gain. This is not just a betrayal of me, but of the countless individuals who rely on our work." From the corner of her eye, Olivia caught sight of William entering the room, his presence like a dark cloud. As he approached, there was a palpable shift in the atmosphere, tension crackling like electricity. "Olivia," he interrupted, his voice smooth yet laced with an undercurrent of menace. "Is it really wise to air your dirty laundry in front of the press? You're making a fool of yourself." She straightened her back, channeling Daniel's unwavering strength. "No, William. It's time for the truth to come out. You've played your games for too long, and I refuse to let you manipulate me any longer." "Manipulate you?" He laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the hall. "You think you can stand up to me? You're nothing without me." Daniel stepped forward, his presence a protective barrier. "That's where you're wrong, William. Olivia is more than capable of standing on her own. She doesn't need you to define her." The tension in the room escalated, the audience captivated by the unfolding drama. Olivia felt a surge of determination rise within her, fueled by Daniel's support. I'm taking back control of my foundation, and I will ensure that every cent is accounted for. This is not just about me. It's about the integrity of our mission. William's face darkened, his mask of confidence slipping. You think this will change anything? You're just a woman with a dream. You'll never be able to run this foundation without me. Watch me, Olivia replied, her voice firm. I will rebuild this foundation from the ground up, and I will do it without you. I'm stronger than you ever realized. As the crowd erupted into murmurs of approval, Daniel's eyes met Olivia's, and in that moment, she knew she wasn't alone. She had a partner, someone who believed in her when she struggled to believe in herself. The press conference continued, with Olivia addressing questions and concerns, her confidence growing with each word. With Daniel by her side, she felt empowered, ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. As the event drew to a close, Olivia stood tall, her heart swelling with a newfound sense of purpose. She had faced her fears, confronted her past, and emerged stronger than ever. And through it all, Daniel remained steadfast, a beacon of support in the storm. With the press conference behind them, Olivia knew that the real battle was just beginning. But for the first time in years, she felt ready to face it head-on, fueled by the promise of a brighter future and the bond she had built with Daniel. Together, they would navigate the complexities of her world, hand in hand, as they forged a new path forward. The atmosphere in the conference hall was electric, charged with anticipation and tension. Cameras flashed like fireworks, capturing the moment as Olivia Sinclair stood at the podium, her heart pounding in her chest. The weight of the world was upon her, but she felt a surge of courage as she glanced at Dr. Daniel Harper standing beside her. His presence steadied her, a silent promise of support that gave her the strength to face the storm brewing on the horizon. Ladies and gentlemen, Olivia began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. Thank you for joining me today. I stand before you not just as a philanthropist, but as a woman who has fought long and hard against deceit and betrayal. She paused, scanning the audience, feeling the gravity of her words. Today, I am here to expose the truth behind the corruption that has infiltrated my foundation. A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Daniel felt the tension rise. He could see William, Olivia's estranged ex-husband, seated toward the back, an air of menace surrounding him. His expression was inscrutable, but Daniel sensed the dark energy radiating from him. Olivia took a deep breath, her resolve hardening as she continued. Over the past few months, I have uncovered a scheme that not only threatens the integrity of my foundation, but also the lives of those we aim to help. I have reason to believe that someone close to me has been colluding with my ex-husband to siphon funds meant for charitable work, she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. Who is it? A reporter shouted from the back, eager for the scoop. Olivia hesitated for a moment, her eyes darting to Daniel, who nodded encouragingly. The person I'm referring to is none other than my former advisor, Rebecca Lane, who has been working hand in hand with William Sinclair to undermine my efforts. A gasp echoed through the hall, and the cameras whirred as they captured the moment of revelation. Daniel felt a mix of pride and concern for Olivia. She was standing tall, embodying the woman he had come to admire. But he also recognized the danger this revelation could bring. William's face twisted into a scowl, his anger palpable as he leaned forward in his seat, his eyes narrowing at Olivia. "You're making a grave mistake, Olivia," William shouted, his voice booming through the hall. "You have no proof. This is nothing but a desperate attempt to save face." "That's where you're wrong, William," Olivia retorted, her voice now a powerful weapon. "I have every piece of evidence needed to prove your wrongdoing." She gestured to Daniel, who stepped forward, holding a file filled with documents. "With Dr. Harper's help, we have gathered enough information to take this to the authorities." The crowd erupted in whispers, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Daniel felt the adrenaline pumping through his veins. This was the moment they had worked toward, but he couldn't shake the feeling that William wouldn't go down without a fight. "Your time is up, William," Daniel said, meeting the man's gaze with unwavering determination. "You can't manipulate her life any longer." Olivia, emboldened by Daniel's words, continued, "I will not allow anyone to control my narrative or tarnish the work I've dedicated my life to. I urge all of you to stand with me, to support integrity and honesty in philanthropy." As she spoke, the crowd began to rally behind her. The energy shifted, and Daniel could see that Olivia's courage was igniting something within the audience. Hands clapped, voices cheered, and the atmosphere transformed from one of uncertainty to one of unity. But just as the tide seemed to turn in their favor, a sharp gasp cut through the applause. A woman rushed into the hall, her face pale and panicked. "Olivia, you need to see this," she exclaimed breathlessly, holding a phone in her hand. "What is it, Sarah?" Olivia asked, her heart racing. "Rebecca, she's gone. She's disappeared, and the police just received an anonymous tip about the embezzlement. They're saying it leads back to you." Sarah's voice quivered, and the room froze in shock. "No, that can't be," Olivia stammered, confusion washing over her. The betrayal felt like a knife twisting in her gut. How could this be happening? She looked at Daniel, searching for answers in his eyes. "Olivia," he whispered, "this isn't over. We need to stay focused. We can't let this derail our progress." But Olivia felt the ground shifting beneath her. She had fought so hard, and now it felt like the walls were closing in. "Why would Rebecca do this? She was one of my closest allies," she murmured, grappling with the reality of the betrayal. "Perhaps she was never an ally," Daniel suggested, his voice low but firm. "We need to think strategically. If she's working with William, this could be a trap." Olivia nodded, her mind racing as she processed the implications. "Then we need to act quickly. We can't let them take control of the narrative now." As the press conference took a chaotic turn, Daniel and Olivia huddled together, strategizing. "We need to go to the police, show them everything we have. They need to know the truth," Daniel urged. Olivia glanced back at the crowd, still buzzing with confusion. "You're right. We need to take this public. Make it clear that I won't be silenced or intimidated." With a renewed sense of purpose, Olivia stepped back to the microphone. "I want to assure everyone here that we will pursue justice. I will not let fear dictate my actions. I am committed to uncovering the truth, no matter where it leads," she declared, her voice gaining strength with each word. The audience erupted in applause once more, the energy shifting in their favor. But Daniel felt a pang of worry. They were walking a dangerous line, and he knew that William wouldn't take this betrayal lightly. After the press conference, as the cameras faded and the crowd dispersed, Daniel and Olivia stood together, contemplating their next move. "What now?" Olivia asked, her brow furrowed with determination. "We gather our evidence, compile everything we have, and take it to the authorities," Daniel replied, his voice steady. "And we need to be careful. William will retaliate. I'm ready for whatever comes next," Olivia said, her eyes fierce with resolve. "I won't let them control my life any longer." In that moment, Daniel felt a surge of admiration for Olivia. She was no longer just the wealthy philanthropist he had operated on. She was a woman reclaiming her power, ready to face whatever darkness lay ahead. Together, They would confront the challenges waiting for them, united by a bond that had grown stronger through adversity. As they prepared to leave the conference hall, Daniel took Olivia's hand, intertwining their fingers. "We'll get through this together," he promised. Olivia looked up at him, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Together," she echoed, feeling the warmth of his grip. They stepped into the unknown, ready to face the reckoning that awaited them, fortified by their shared resolve and the unbreakable bond that had formed between them amidst the chaos.